Hey, good afternoon. Great afternoon to you. This is Regina Donnelly, better known as the Preacher Kid Sensation, PK Sensation for short. If you follow me on Instagram, Regina Donnelly is my name. I am the mental wealth builder, meaning that I bring value to the marketplace, which is generally your mind. When I talk to you, I'm speaking to that side of you that's going to make all the decisions and to reframe the situation, because a renewed mind creates a renewed lifestyle. So I want to come on with my Monday motivation. Little is much. So to start, the premise is that I'm reminded of the account when Jesus and his disciples, when they were out and Jesus was teaching, and he saw, and the people were following him because, of course, when a person, talks about something people like, they follow them, like we do now, Facebook and Twitter and the sort. So these people were essentially his Jesus' social media followers without the social media, and so he had compassion on them and wanted to feed them. So he had turned his disciples and said, okay, we need to feed them. And the disciples said, well, we're going to get money to feed all these people, because about 5,000 at least. Okay? 5,000 at least. And so he was like, they were like, how are we going to feed these people? So you remember the account where there was a little boy who had 2 fish and 5 rolls of bread. Okay? Loaves, bread, whatever. And so Jesus asked for that. Now, 5,000 people, 2 fish, 5 loaves. 5,000 people, 2 fish, 5 loaves. We don't know what kind of fish they were, and I don't think it even matters if they were minnows or guppies or they were 5 muffins. 2 fish and 5 loaves are not enough to feed 5,000 people, or so it seemed. So when Jesus took the food, he blessed it and then the disciples distributed the food, and they still had portions left over. Now, that is an example of a little is much. But here's the kicker. Little is much in the right hands. Listen now. Little is much in the right hands. If the disciples had it, it wasn't going to go too far. But since Jesus had it, it went beyond far. They had more than enough. So little is much in the right hands. See, right now you may have an idea that may seem little. But if you get with somebody that have the ability or the talent to take little and make much, what looks small can be big. All right? And the Bible says, do not despise the small stuff, the small beginnings, okay? People overlook stuff because it's small. They overlook it because it's insignificant. But in the right hands, listen to me now, it means much. But you got to put it in the right hands. Now, there are people who are trying to do things on their own, and they're trying to figure out, well, why is it not working? Why is it not working? Well, maybe because you don't have it in the right hands. You may have the training, you may have the head knowledge, but you may not have the know-how. Or you may not have the connections. So that means that you may have to allow that bit that you have, give it over to someone who can make little out of much. Much out of little, basically. Okay? So, who is that in your life? Do you have anybody like that in your life? Are you that way? Are you the type of person when somebody puts something in your hands, you produce? Okay? And that's who you are, then you need to seek out people that has the little and you can make much for them. And it shouldn't be that difficult because all of us know people that are, they call them rainmakers. You know, there's different between a hustler and a rainmaker, so that y'all know. Okay. So people can just make it rain, you know, they see something and they go, wow, they have a vision. They already see it big, blowing up. Now, you might not see it big and blowing up. And that's why you have to be careful that what you have, you don't put it in the wrong hands, or what you have, you don't despise it, because the people who look at what you have, they may sit around and say, well, that don't look like much, and I don't see that happening, and I don't know about that, and that can be demoralizing, okay? That can be discouraging because a lot of people have thrown ideas and stuff in the trash because of the opinions of other people. All right? And they might be well-meaning, but they're ignorant. I'ma say it one more time. They may be well-meaning, but they is ignorant. They don't know. Because it's strange to them and new to them. Now, if it's something that you have to go on it, I'm not saying that everything is a good idea or is a God idea. I'm saying that sometimes we don't value the little things because we think the little thing is not significant. It's not going to make an impact. A little seed planted in the ground becomes a big tree. Now, does that happen overnight? No. And that tree, if it's a fruit tree, may bear much fruit. From that one seed, you can that tree might bear 500 fruit. And in each fruit, there's 5 or 6 more seeds from that one seed. But if you put it in the right ground and give the care that it needs, and season is important too, then that little bit will produce much. But it has to be in the right hand. It has to be in the right soil. It has to be in that right time. Not the left, not the wrong, but the right. So do not get discouraged if what you have right now doesn't look like much, seem insignificant, not as important, because the last should be first and the first should be last. Do not overlook. Let me give you another example. All right, David. David was the youngest of his brothers, right? So when they were looking for another king, when God said, okay, we gotta get rid of this other guy. Saul ain't working. So we got a contingency plan. So Samuel went to Jesse and said, okay, Jesse, all his sons came in. And then what happened? And then nobody, Samuel the prophet never got any unction or confirmation to either one. He said, well, don't you have another son? And Jesse said, he ain't much to look at. Oh, well, he's not that, he's out there with the animals. He's the youngest. And so Samuel said, well, bring him. And then when they brought David, that's when the Lord told Samuel, he's the one. But he didn't look like much. He was little in his dad's sight. Not in God's sight. Little is much when you put it in the right hands. Little is much when it's looked from a divine perspective. Do not despise the little bit that you have. It can do great things. My name is Regina Nunley, better known as the Preacher Kid Sensation, PK. Sensation for short. If you follow me on Instagram, I am the mental wealth builder. I'm bringing value to the marketplace because I'm allergic to ignorance. Okay? Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube. Check me out on LinkedIn. And I have a book out, Amazon.com, called Boundless Success with Regina Nunley, where I share tips that I have learned in my challenges of how to succeed in life. Okay. And I'm still learning. So it's a never ending story. Never despise the stuff that you learned, because in due time, if you don't faint, you shall reap. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.